Okay, so now that you've got a bodice that you like, and I've got my little shirt here, it's time to put in some top stitching. And in order to keep my layers organized for what we're working on, I've named them. So I've got croquis, which is locked, which is that one. I now have bodice layer, which I have got there, also locked. Now I'm going to head up to top stitch. Now, to do a top stitch on a neckline, a scoop neckline like this, what I find really handy is to grab your, make sure that is not on yet. I want to head up to stroke. And one thing to look at stroke, if you end up with these weird, crazy pointy edges and things, you may need to turn the cap to a softer curve. Okay, you'll sometimes get like when you're shaping kind of a drastic angle, a really pointy edge. That means you've probably got corners on like a harsh cap. That will soften it out around join. Okay. But now I want to turn on dashed line. Now the default in Illustrator is a 12 point, which is really large. I want to do like a 1 point with like a 1.5 gap. And what that's going to look like in my drawing is something like that. Okay. I'm going to delete that and draw in my neckline. So what I find real handy is I pop in a point at the shoulder, which would be, say, like, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, however wide the top stitch is away from the edge of the garment. Do the same distance down here. And then another one up here. Hit escape. So you have just this V line here. And then go back and use the convert tool. Pull and shape that neckline nice and smoothly. Like that. And always make sure that there's no fill on a top stitch. Otherwise, it will block out whatever is underneath, right? So if you have something that looks like, it's more likely it's going to look like that. And you're going to wonder what's going on. It means you've got the fill on inside your top stitch. So turn that off and you're good. And then you would draw in, same idea for your top stitching at the wrist and at the waistline. Okay. So Command 0, Control 0, recenters your drawing in the middle of your page, right? If you go in super close on something and you need to get back out again, you want to check and make sure that your top stitching is nice and clean. You go in really, really close, but then you want to get back out. You can always hit Command or Control 0 and it takes you out to fit the artwork to the art space. All right, this is looking pretty good. I am now going to do the back of my garment because with technicals, we have a front and a back. So I'm going to unlock my bodice layer and I'm going to marquee and see how when the layers are unlocked, I've selected my top stitching and my like the garment underneath as well as the top stitching. I'm going to Control C and then I'm going to Control V. So I have what will become the back. I'm also going to marquee and do Control G, which is object group. Now, what grouping does is it makes all of this one object now. Right? So I don't accidentally click it and leave the rest of it behind because it is just a bunch of different shapes, right? So there we go. But the only thing I'm going to change for the back is I want a higher line on the back. So I'm going to get in a little closer. I'm going to marquee over just those points at the back, and I'm going to use my keypad to move them up, which will give me the back of my garment. I'm going to, I have not grouped this yet, so I'm going to just select the back and the back stitch line. And I'm going to Control C. And then I'm going to put it behind, and that's a right click, arrange, send to back. And that gives me the back of my garment. There we go. It's been pretty good. And so now that that's looking nice and in place, I'm going to marquee over and I'm going to group. So again, it's all one. And I'm going to, oops, do not want to forget to group my back with my front. So I'm going to marquee that and then group again. And I have a front and I have a back, and I'm going to object arrange, bring to front. So my front is in front of my back. And then I am going to make them both larger to fill my page. Remember to always hold shift when you're making things bigger. There we go. And I don't need my croquis anymore, so I'm going to delete that layer the moment I've just hidden it. And I want to head up to my, I'm going to lock these guys and do my text layer. And this is the last part of the technical. I'm going to ruler guide. I'm going to reset the guides to 0, 0. I'm going to pull a ruler guide to about 1 inch and 1 inch. I'm now going to draw in a line, and you're going to want to make sure that your stroke is not a dashed line at this point. So that's good. It's not, because I just want to have one black line going down. And then one black line going across. Escape, escape to disengage it. And then I can get rid of those ruler guides. And you can see I have a nice little key line across and a key line down. And I'm going to hit my text. And then I would just go in and style number, designer, whatever you want to have on here. Like, if there's a style name, whatever you're going to need can go into there. And then season, etc. All of the metadata that you would want for the drawing. And then you have your, can lock that, unlock these guys. and move them nicely onto your page. And the cool thing about once you've set up your crosshair and text information, all you have to do with a new drawing is black arrow, select just that, Control C, file, new document, and everything else is looking good because we've got it in inches, create, and then Control F, and it'll put it in place in the new document. And you can do that over and over and over again once you've got a nice layout that you like. All right. So that is the fundamentals of doing a technical drawing in Illustrator.